Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tesla Life number 93. And I think I have the right number this week. It is 93.
Yeah, it is 93.
Yeah. Now, can I get the date right of April the 3rd, 2019? There we go. So we've got Russell doing sign language. That's great. That's great. Russell, how are you today, my wingman?
I'm not Darth Frost. I'm not wearing 3-4 layers of sweatshirts, and I'm not sick as I was last week. So I'm damn glad to be here.
Man, that's much better to be that way.
I think Russell will probably make a good wingman.
The hood was becoming in some ways, but
it was becoming something.
And speaking of becoming something, it's Tony in Chicago. How are you today, Tony?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing great. Chicago is finally starting to warm up. It is, you can see over my shoulder, it is now baseball season in Chicago. Oh. Let's not even mention playoffs.
Not even going to mention a certain hockey team? No?
I have no idea what you're talking about. They're dead to me.
So hockey season is over.
In some cities, it's over.
In some cities. Burn.
Nice one, Mark. Nice one.
There are certain cities that hockey is not coming back until the fall.
But the Canadian teams are going strong, which is respectable.
We will see what happens. The season's not quite over. My team's still not quite in, but we'll see.
We've been saying that in Chicago for weeks. Prepare for the worst, my friend.
Very good, very good. And finally, in South Carolina, we've got Casey Green with us. Casey, how are you today?
Hi, everybody. I'm pretty good.
Hey, excellent. Yeah. And
just,
Casey, based on the short sleeves, I would say you've got some good weather.
It's okay. It's okay. This house is warm for some reason today.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Sweater is fine outside.
And none of us are wearing pants.
Well,
I thought we agreed not to talk about that.
That was not in the script at all.
It wasn't? Oh, where did I get the script then? Because it definitely says, Russell says we're not wearing pants.
That must be Russell's script.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I need to not have this sit-stand desk if that's the case.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Oh.
And before we go completely off the rails, let's get into this week's news.
As if we haven't already gone completely off the rails.
No, there's lots more time to do that. Don't worry. First story of the evening is about, of course, the Tesla Winter Rodeo, as we like to call it. There was a contest recently where Tesla put out an invite for people to, submit submit a credentials to come join them in Norway. No, was it Norway or Sweden?
Finland.
It was Finland. Okay.
Finland.
So close.
I'm just all around the target.
You'd have gotten one of these 193 tries.
Speaking like another North American that doesn't know anything else but where they live. Anyways, they were going to be putting on on ice a winter test drive using some Model 3s, S's, and track mode on the Model 3. And they invited a few, not many, just a few from North America to come join them, along with some Europeans, as they did some test tracking on this frozen lake. And that happened just last week. And there were some pictures released recently. And in the article from Tesla Rati, there was a number of pictures and a write-up about this get-together, which was great. It was held basically in a, I guess it's a very much a winter environment. Kemi, Finland, Kemi, Finland, and there we got some pictures of. Looks like the Teslas are lined up in the snow parking lot. You can tell that it looks like a snow castle, actually.
I was staring at this picture. I was trying to figure out if that's a concrete barrier covered in snow or if that whole thing is made out of snow. And I think the whole thing is made out of snow.
That is a packed snow structure. I'm willing to bet.
Well, what's even more interesting is to the right of it, you can see the ramps look like they're all made out of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey. Okay,
I
even
don't
in
know
Finland,
if-
they like tubes.
I do not know if I would be trusting a car on a snow ramp.
Oh, that's not for the cars. Come on now. That is not for the car.
That looks like the drive-in portion of the parking lot, right? You go up the
It
ramp
does,
and
yeah.
turn the corner and park your car.
Yeah, that angle's too tight.
No.
Let's get three of the heaviest cars in the world and send them up this snowpack.
Let's put them on a snow track. See how
Sounds
they
like a
how they
bad
handle
idea.
going up 20 feet in the air and see how much the snow and ice will hold the car. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't like the way that they announced the winners. Their email made it look like everybody who lost won, and then you read the email, it's like, no.
Yeah, it was worded funny, wasn't it? It wasn't quite to the point.
Yeah, and everybody was looking at each other like, did you get the same email, and did you win or lose?
But man, that would have been fun though. Taking the car out on a snow track with track mode and spinning it around. That would be a great deal of fun. But no, I didn't win either, Casey. So that's just the way it goes. Hopefully next year.
Hey, guess what?
What's that?
I didn't win either.
Oh my gosh! 4 for 4.
Well, let me ask. Did you
Did you
submit a entry?
A what?
An entry. Did you submit an entry?
You know,
what now? I was supposed
Elon
to.
and I go way back. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I guess you're going to tell me the lottery is play to win too, right?
Yeah.
So you don't buy the lotto ticket either, and still complain that you haven't won.
What you're saying is that I screwed up.
Isn't that how it works? Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
You got to meet us halfway, Tony. Buy a ticket.
I thought maybe this was something. This was like some kind of Mockingjay thing where like everyone in town is entered.
Oh,
that would be cool.
You're like the tribute.
Yeah.
Automatic entry.
Speaking of track mode, ooh, that thing is fun.
That's right, Casey. You've got a video coming out, don't you? Or is it out already?
Two. One is a 360 video of Model 3 in track mode. And then just this morning, we released one where you get to ride along with me on a circuit in the Model X P100D.
Well.
Yeah.
All right.
I wasn't going to plug them till later, but, you know.
Okay. Hey. Well, plug them early and often, I say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
speaking of plugging, has everybody taken the opportunity to hit the like button on today's show?
That would be appreciated.
No.
Absolutely.
Not now that I know that Russell is not wearing pants. I can't like that.
He doesn't have to know what the like is for. We're trying to convince YouTube
Do you want
to show
me
us
to
to more
stand
people.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. No.
Okay.
Next. This is a good one, and I think Russell might have a comment or two on this one. Elon decided to send an email out to his store employees to clear the air. To let people know where he stood at this point and where they stood at this point.
Outside.
And the email
with the doors locked
was something of it wasn't trying to let down people easy. I'll give you that. It was pretty direct and to the point, and it was, I don't know. It wasn't a letter that I would have liked to receive. But is that because they are in such dire straits, expense wise, that they're just letting people know that this is the way it is? That's all there is to it.
They were trying to fire everybody before. So now,
well,
now they're getting
and is that a saving grace that, well, I was going to fire everybody and I decided to keep a few.
Right. Now it's the Hunger Games. So they opened up the letter and it said, "Straighten up and fly right."
and keep flying right, because we're watching you still.
Yeah. And the monkey told the buzzard to get off my back, man.
Oh man. So I don't know. I don't think that's really fair. But that was it was quite a letter.
I just have to look at this from an outside perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at this business and you're looking at the CEO's leadership, or excuse me, the non-CEO leadership, and these decisions like this come back and forth over a week or two, and we're going to fire everybody. We're not going to fire everybody. We're going to close everything. We're not going to close everything. All of our orders come from online. No, wait, these retail things are important. I'm not sure how people don't see the complete failure of leadership at the top.
Well, the good thing was this time it wasn't a reversal. It was just a clarification of the last reversal.
Okay, there, perfect. Yeah.
So what you're saying is 2 in a row means he's a leader.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I was planning on setting you on fire. Now I'm going to stab you, but let me clarify why.
Yeah, well, he's like, it's a nice story you got there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Yeah.
Example of like, okay, so I've taken a 12-inch Bowie knife and I've stuck it in your back. And then a week later, I pull it halfway out. You feel better, don't you? Yes. What else do you want?
And you push it back in again.
Yeah. or the threat of I may push it back in again.
Yeah, exactly. Pray I do not alter the deal further.
I will evaluate your appreciation
of my knife withdrawal.
Yeah.
I just got to say, if you're a Tesla stockholder at this point, you have enormous balls of steel.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
That's why we're not wearing pants.
All right, there it is.
That's pretty much every day in my world, dude. Yeah. Just saying.
I was pretty happy today. It went up a couple dollars. So
yeah, and everything's hinging on, of course, the quarter numbers to be released, which is supposed to happen any time now. I would say within the next 24 hours, it's supposed to come down.
It takes a while to cook the books.
We're on their business day. Where are they?
Yeah. So I and the rest of the analysts out there and the stockholders are certainly anxiously awaiting the release of this information because numbers are all over the board as to what possibly could have been sold. There's lots of people on the positive side saying it's above normal, and there's many people on the negative side saying they're not going to make anywhere near it.
Yeah.
So I've never seen such a wide swath of back and forth as this quarter. So I'm interested to find out. In fact, we did a Tesla poll on the Twitter feed at the Tesla Life, if you're not there already. And we posted a question about the number of Model 3s our listeners and followers thought that Tesla would come out with in the first quarter of 2019. And the majority of people took the positive side and said that they believed it was going to be over 65,000. Whereas, of course, last quarter, it was 63,000 and change. So, and we gave people abilities to choose on both sides, up or down, but certainly the vast majority chose the positive side and said they're going to be above average. So we'll see. It's coming out. In fact, we thought it may have come out at the beginning of the show. It did not, but we're still keeping our eye on it.
So I want to circle back to the letter Elon sent to the employees because JT in the chat brings out a good point. He says, funny how Elon despises unions.
Well, he doesn't say that he despises unions. He says he despises the auto union, and that if they want one, he'd be glad to help them set one up. But last time they left the factory high and dry, and that's what he says publicly. Russell may know what he says otherwise.
Okay. So, guess what would stop people from being able to do this sort of back and forth and jerking people around?
Could it be a union?
It could be.
Right. But what he's saying is that the auto union already left that factory high and dry, and it didn't help the fine folks at GM this last time either.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
so
Casey, I'm going to ask you one question.
Okay.
Yes or no? When Elon says the things that you just referred to, do you believe him?
I don't know. He has points, but
I mean, come on, you've got to make a judgment. Somebody says something, you go, okay, maybe.
I say, okay, maybe, yeah. He says any union but that one would be in your best interest. And if you look at it, he makes a good point that the auto workers union screwed them the last time. They're the same employees back at the same factory that they left last time.
Doesn't make a good point. He makes a self-serving point.
He does that too. He does that too. So what we need to see is them start their own union or attempt to start their own union and see if he busts it. And then we'll know for sure.
Okay.
Well, why hasn't anyone tried? It would be the question. If if Tesla says we're pro union, just not that one, then why has no one started another union?
Because he's buying them out. Apparently,
they would be fired.
or maybe
the organizers would be fired.
Maybe he plants some incriminating stolen corporate secrets on them and gets them out the door.
Right. Maybe he treats them so well
that no
one would ever consider.
That's what he says.
What?
Yeah.
Saboteur version 2.
I am not high.
Not you, Tony, I think.
I was sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I got that.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
Elon buys that shit for a second. Look at the way he treats all of his employees.
All right, you're all 10% of you are fired again.
Look at the staff departures at whatever level the company.
Let's face it. If there was a level of loyalty, he's cut that down by just doing what he has done. Like that loyalty, there are still people out there that are loyal to the company. Absolutely. But there are other people that go, hold on, I am putting my heart and soul into this and I'm being treated as a doormat. Mm-hmm. And I am told I am no longer have a job. I do have a job. I may have a job. So guess what? The good people in that crowd, the ones that are really performers, they're probably looking for other jobs and will continue to look for other jobs until they can find something else. I
wouldn't blame them. Stack ranking is a terrible system. I mean, every holiday now, every winter holiday, it's been, hey, here's your Christmas bonus, and 10% of you can keep a step.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stack ranking works if you're coming into a cesspit and you use it for 1, maybe 2 years. But if you keep that crap going, you're going to be sending all of your best people out the door, and you're going to end up with the best people who can float through that terrible system.
Yes. Yeah, which is not good.
I would suggest that is the majority of the people that have stayed there over a year at this point. Is that these are people that are good at navigating the system.
I know some good people still in there. I wouldn't.
Yeah, you can say some, but yeah, how many is the question?
51%. How's that? I'll give you 49.
Yeah, there's some doozies in there. I mean, I interact with some people, and I'm like, how are you still at this company? Yeah. But it didn't work for Microsoft. It didn't work for Oracle. Didn't work for whoever else, GE. I mean, you have to turn that system off. If you keep it going more than 2-3 years, you're not gonna have the best and the brightest.
Yeah, let me tell you a true story that occurred to me at the last company I worked for, not the company I work for now, but they were purchased by one of these finance venture things that buy companies and break them up. And right off the bat, they cut 15% of the workforce indiscriminately. They didn't even look to see performance. And what happened was the really good, dedicated people picked up the extra work from the people who had been let go. Mm-hmm. The people who were not really good, dedicated people realized they could be let go on any day, and therefore, why bother? So what happened was the people who didn't give a crap about the company didn't do much and never made mistakes. The people who wanted to keep things going worked twice as hard. In some cases, I know, drove home just to sleep and then come back to work another 14 hours. And when something finally slipped, when they finally dropped one of the many balls that they were kept going, they were dinged for that and let go. Slowly, the best, dedicated, hardest working people were weeded out, and all that was left was mediocre and crappy people.
People that can navigate the system.
Exactly.
Or just do as little as possible to make sure they never made a mistake.
Well, look what happened at Microsoft with the fiefdoms and you'd hold everything back so you'd have good review, and then you'd all pick somebody on the team to vote off the island.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We shall see. Hopefully things improve. But right now, it's a bit rocky, to say the least. Next, on some brighter news, an update was sent that the early testers are starting to get the stoplight warning that is appearing. If you are about to run a red, they're now getting on your display a picture of either hands on the wheel, or a picture, if you're in the Model 3, of a red light signal appearing to let you know that you're about to run a light that's red. So this is part of course, the autopilot suite that is being enabled. It's not stopping the car at this point. This early test is just recognizing that you're going to run a stoplight or a stop sign. I've only seen the video for the stop light. I haven't seen one for stop sign yet. But this is a new advancement in the autopilot where it's going to start to recognize those lights and alert people that they're about to run those lights at that time. So certainly, and again, public service announcement. If you're listening to this podcast, do not try this and wait for you're going to run the light signal on your car, because of course only early testers have it. You don't have it on your car yet. So
I'm not an early tester, and I do have it on my car.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I've only done 1,000 miles with the update, so I've only seen the notice once. Because you got to be A, at the front of the line, B, the car has to actually detect the light and know that it's red, and then you have to be going at a velocity it thinks it needs to remind you to stop.
So you have you've only seen this happen once in your travels so far,
and I wasn't expecting it because I was like, oh well, they say I have this thing and it doesn't do anything, and then there I go, and it's like, oh crap, because you also have to be in autopilot at the time too. So
okay.
And so as I'm reaching to turn it off,
it surprised you because you didn't think you had it, and
it said it on the release notes,
right?
But like I said, I did 1,000 miles, and that was the first time it popped up, so I didn't think it was in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: other than like reading the release notes or trying to run a red light, is there any indication that this is there? Is there anything that people can go check to see if they have it?
I would just read the release notes and not rely on it, because this is very similar to the stop bar detection that we talked about last time, where the shadow mode was watching and learning where all the stop bars were and what they look like and training itself. And so now it's learning what stop lights look like. There's a French guy in Tennessee who's got an unlocked autopilot computer, and he actually made his stop at the red lights, but sometimes it'll stop on green. Sometimes it won't see the red light and will fly on through.
Oh my gosh.
Other times it'll see a light but not see what color it is. So
man, that's
still learning.
That's not even a beta.
Oh yeah, it's not. He actually he not only is it in his unlocked computer, he unlocked the feature in the unlocked computer. So it's like 3 levels deep.
He tampered with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, his car was for some reason delivered in developer mode, and they haven't fixed it yet. So.
He has all sorts of fun when he's driving around.
He does.
I'm still trying to get over what the accent might sound like for a Frenchman in Tennessee.
Don't think about it. And I got one word response: Louisiana.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, and so one of the YouTubers I interact with regularly, he had it happen on a right turn. I don't know how he had it do that unless he went right and popped right into autopilot, or if it just freaked out. But same thing. Hands on wheel immediately with the screaming chime.
Well, that's nothing that will wake you up, definitely.
Yes.
But so if you're out there and it's happened to you, we'd like to see your comment on it. Put a comment in the notes, and we would like to read about what your experience has been. And while you're there, press that thumbs up, give us a thumbs up, and also, if you haven't subscribed, for goodness sakes, press that subscribe button, ring the bell, and help us out. We're almost at our 1,000 goal. We're so close. So please join us and help us get there together. We would appreciate it. Next, Gigafactory 3. Have you guys seen the pictures of this thing as it's being built overnight?
I mean, every time I look at it, it's like
this thing apparently is running 24/7 all the time.
It up. There we go.
Construction continues all the time. There was a shot in the same article from Teslarati that showed a night shot of all these lights shining on the pads as they're continuing to work through the night. And from the shot that Tony's just shared with us, you can actually see the structure is jumping ahead. So not only are the roof trusses up in some cases, which are the white beams that you see in the background, but they're even moving into the next several pads over and placing more beams and pillars in place. So this thing is really springing up. And
Which is impressive, I want to say, because it's only these two guys who are doing the
work. Well, I just want to point out that, remember, was it 2 shows ago now? We saw them put the first beam in that had the inscription on it. And now they're about ready to put the roof on it.
Yeah, there's that shot at night as they're... I don't know what the significance of green light and yellow lights are.
It's light, color, temperature in photography.
Yep.
It's just different.
Oh, okay.
So the first bulbs ran out and they put new ones in, and they're green now.
Your eyes see it all as white or yellowish, but it shows up differently because film, because sensors.
Yep.
Very good. Very good.
I don't see a lot of work going on there, but they are lighting it, and and it's China, and they're definitely making huge progress. So I mean, good for them.
Even the Chinese wouldn't waste the money on the electricity if they weren't going to work on it. That's a lot of lights.
And in the same article, they're now saying that a report is cited that says that they will be starting to load the equipment for production in May of this year. So, like, we're a month and a bit away from May. It could be the end of May, could be 2 months away. But very interesting that they're getting it to the point where they're going to start moving in production equipment into part of the build. And of course, we don't know how much of the production will it be a partial production? Will they ship some parts, assemble them, so they apply for the Chinese content rules and can get by the taxing? We don't know what it's going to be, but they believe that by the end of the year they're going to be producing cars.
So the question is, given how fast they're moving, will there be a roof or not? Because the Roadster, Elon got mad at whoever was doing the batteries for them because they were building them in a building with no AC and no roof.
Okay.
So is this going to be a repeat, or are they going to be just that finished that you can put everything in there?
I would say the environmental controls would have to be in place in some cases, while others aren't required.
Look at Model 3 Line 4. It's in a tent, essentially.
No, it's a sprung structure.
Sprung structure, but essentially a tent.
Don't you be slurring, Elon, okay?
Right.
Sprung structure.
Derek Ludwig says Chinese sprung
structure. Can they spring those structures? If you've seen SpaceX and the docks, they know how to put up a structure, let me tell you, because they're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be continuing to follow that and see as that equipment starts to move in, I'm sure, because there is a ton of drones in China flying over this plant 24/7, getting every little bit of information that's happening. If you've seen our friend on Twitter, Jay from Shanghai, that guy is covering this story like there's no tomorrow. He's got information on everything that's going on.
Well, I don't know about that, but he's definitely covering it like there's no tomorrow.
Well, I mean, this might be the new thing. Like they're building the Starship out in the open. They didn't even bother with the sprung structure this time around, and like it started, and then hey, here's a webcam just watching us.
Exactly.
You pull across the street and watch it. So now in China, hey, you just throw a drone up, you're good.
Yep.
I honestly think that Tesla should be doing it themselves. I think it would be really cool if you could go to the Tesla site or go somewhere.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that would be good. That'd be awesome.
Just like Tesla should just throw some webcams up on some high poles around it, and then you could look at it from 6 different angles or something, and just in real time watch the thing get built.
And annotate it. Here's our battery slurry farm #1 machine, and then they could blank it out whenever there's proprietary information.
People would eat that up. Absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Next, a story that Casey maybe could comment on is about Century Mode arriving for the S and the X. Did that happen in your X? Excellent.
It did.
So, what are your opinions? How did you turn it on? Have you tested it?
Yeah, I have. It's a little unstable. Sometimes I get.
It's a little unstable.
Sometimes I get back to the car and it's like a teenager. Like you wake it up and it, like before you get your seatbelt on, it goes back to sleep. It's like, we gotta go. It's like 5 more minutes. This morning I had to reboot it because like it was completely offline. I couldn't close the door or anything. So I give it a 2-wheel restart and then there was still no sign of life.
You had to reset the computer.
Yeah, there was still no sign of life. I was about to call Tesla on the cell phone and unplugged it and replugged it, and by then it started to boot to life. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
So was this you put it in Sentry mode overnight in your driveway, or was this?
There was a young lad pulling door handles in the neighborhood, so I was like, well, he won't expect 8 cameras aimed at his face, so we'll be able to catch this guy if he tries to figure out how to work my door handles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's some bugs in the S and the X, or at least the X, as far as we know.
At least my X.
Yeah.
and Trevor's X. Trevor from up your way.
Okay, Trevor from Model 3 Owners Club. Yeah.
Model Tesla Owners Online. Something they renamed it.
Global.
Something. Yeah. Global Owners Online. He had a bug with his too. So. Okay.
So there's some issues with it.
But I have seen through Testify. I've seen that there's a 2019.9 out instead of the 8.3 and the 8.4. Yeah,
okay.
So they're on it.
But that kind of dovetails into our next story, which was about someone that did get caught on a Model 3 with Sentry mode. And this was horrible. This was a person that walked up beside a Model 3 and purposely ran their key down the door, stopped, let their kid into the back of their SUV, and then purposely pulled the key out again and leaned up against the car to give it a couple of stabs with the key on another door panel.
But on this one, she made it look like it was just her purse scraping against the car.
Right. But you could see her pull the key out, point it at the door, and then lean into the door.
Yes. The first time she was blatant, like she was running up like it's like like she's passing the baton on track and field.
Well, it wasn't quite that blatant, but it was. She had the key outward as she walked by the car, and it was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
And Tesla Latino posted this video and pictures that Tony's sharing right now. And what also happened was that they, of course, were able to take this and send it to the police. And the police indicated that they were able to find the person based on, I'm assuming, the license plate when the vehicle drove away. And they actually charged the person with vandalism.
Yeah. See, and I was watching this, and the whole time I was trying to figure out if her dress was blue or silver.
Blue or gold?
Blue or gold, or whatever that.
White or gold?
Yeah.
So, I hate to derail the story, but we've got breaking news whenever we get done discussing this.
Okay.
Do they have a union at Tesla?
No, it's not a union.
So anyways, moral of the story is Sentry mode does work in some cases. And certainly if the word gets out that people are being recorded around it, I don't know where that's going to lead. Maybe to hijinks of people making faces in front of the cameras. That kind of thing could be happening as well. But it's good to see at least one person has been caught to this point. We will see as time goes along if this is an effective something that deters people or not. Really, we don't know at this point. But
and of course, this is exactly why this was activated.
Yeah, because of those window smashes. Yeah.
Well, even before that, the initial one was like it looked like a jilted X. Like she zigzagged all over the hood of the car, and Elon's like, or not Elon, like the owner was like, Elon, what can we do about this? I've got 8 cameras on my car, and no clue of what happened.
And Elon said, "Wait a minute, I have a jilted X. We should do something about this."
Yes, exactly. It only took 6 months, but we have Sentry mode now.
Glad that didn't come from me.
You were thinking about it, though, weren't you, Russell?
I didn't say a thing.
Right?
No, I didn't.
Well, Casey, share the breaking news.
So on the Tesla site, they have just put up a press release introducing more seamless navigate on autopilot. So this is the confirmless navigate on autopilot, where you'll just change lanes on its own. I haven't read the press release yet. That's just the title.
So that is being released now to the general public?
I haven't read it. It's right here. Let's read it together.
Let's read it together, shall we? Well, it's actually pretty long, but...
it is? Yeah.
Since we just first introduced Navigate on Autopilot last year, no, I'm not going to read it.
Okay. You're not going to do that. Yeah.
All right, I'll skim it.
You skim it, and we'll touch base as we go along here.
Okay.
Can you do can you give the Elon version like 140 characters or less?
144 characters.
Taking it private, 420.
Nothing more.
Secured.
Elon, of course, also was active on Twitter this week. No surprise. And one of the tweets that he sent out was an answer to a question about the full self-driving computer that people were speaking about. That's the Hardware 3 computer that is now being released in the production vehicles. We heard that today. But the question to him was, what if I have a 2.5 computer? How do I get the 3.0? And Elon described in a tweet that yes, anybody with a 2.0 or 2.5 car that's paid for full self-driving will receive a free computer upgrade at some point in the future to allow them to use all the options within the full self-driving package. He indicated that it would be rolled out slowly based on the features that are available. So the features that they're going to be releasing at the beginning are not going to be taxing enough that they would have to have version 3 computer. They could still use the 2.0 and 2.5 computers. But as they get closer to the end of the line and all the different options that are available with full self-driving, then those computer swaps would be required for people with 2.0 and 2.5 computers, and they would be scheduled. So they're trying to, of course, push the computer swaps further down the line, save time and money. And then as those features come online, they'll be scheduling people in to do the swap of the computer, which apparently is in the glove box area of the car, at least in the Model 3. I'm not quite sure if they're in the same spot for the S and the X.
Yes. In the trim panel above the glove box.
Okay, so they are in all cars. So that will allow them to be able to pull those out.
Has Tesla said how many computers they're replacing?
All of them.
No,
everybody who paid.
Yeah, the number has not been published because, of course, if they were to do that, Russell, you would know how many people paid for full self-driving.
That's material information.
Who have not. So they are guarding that and will not release that information most likely.
Yeah,
which is not surprising, really.
That's proprietary information. We can't give that out.
I didn't know if Elon or somebody had said, "Hey, we're going to replace 25,000 computers." You know what I mean? Or
that would make the shorters explode,
right? Well, this does.
They would quickly add up. Well, they're probably those computers are probably $8,000 a pop. That times 25,000. That means that they can't pay their bills next month.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they did. Remember, we saw where they were starting to include the hardware in random European shipments, and then some Model S's and X's in the US.
Yeah.
So
that was just 2 weeks ago. Somebody found that in a software update.
Yep. And so this pretty much confirms that it's now rolling out 100% on the.
Tesla did confirm they're rolling out 100% now. So
right, but they were vague on what in production meant. Does that mean they're building the computers? But I think in production means literally they're in the cars that
they're
are
on the production line. I think
exactly.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So, do we have any idea what these computers look like? Are these computers on a chip?
They
boards?
look like the NVIDIA Titan graphics card with the auto interface where they've got all the camera plugs.
Oh,
and
right. I have one of those sitting right here.
Oh.
Really? Let's see it.
So what does this look like?
It looks like a graphics card with a custom cooling interface on top. Okay. And then you've got a whole bunch of like coaxial jacks and power plugs, like automotive style power plugs.
It looks like a small black box.
It's green, but yeah. And then
it's a small green box.
Yeah,
so
and then
it's a small
silver
green box that they plug in and they do power, and then they hook up the communication cables.
Yeah, and all the cameras.
And then they smack it on the ass and send you on your way.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah. I was literally just curious. I was wondering how hard this is. I mean, how much.
It's supposed to be plug and play.
Okay. Actually, you could probably just look it up on Google, and I think there's a number of images of the Tesla chip on a computer board. Which
the old one was based on the Titan and the Drive FX computer. If you want to look up a picture of that.
And that by the way was the one of the things that Sandy Munro of Monroe and Associates in Michigan was extremely interested in with Tesla, that they were using military style communications and motherboards. They felt that nobody was doing that in the automotive industry at all, and they were head and shoulders above others that were using computer components as well, just how they architected it all into a single board. But yeah, good. So they're starting to roll out, we feel, in all cars.
Yeah, so if I can just kind of, I don't know, segue, piggyback. So it brings up a dealer of happiness in the chat, brings up interesting. So is this going to help with full self-summon or advanced summon? Is this part of self-summon?
No, it's part of the full self-driving. Like it's
full self-drive, yeah.
It's the complete. There's a picture. Very good.
Yeah, there Russell. It is. Yeah, the advanced summon is actually working on this board that you see here, and then the new board. I don't think we've seen pictures of that one yet, but it's going to be the same form factor because it literally is a plug-and-play replace.
Right. This is not the new one. This is the old NVIDIA one.
Yep.
Okay.
So whenever you get a moment, Russell, I would read the second paragraph and the second to last paragraph. And then just for your own amusement, I would read the last sentence in the paper.
Press release?
Yeah, I think that would be the parts that would be relevant to our readers.
Okay.
The rest is fluffy.
All right. Next, there was a picture that showed up of a new delivery truck that was on its route. And the Tesla Semi was spotted. It wasn't spotted. Tesla had a media crew following it down the highway. And I saw some pictures of a Model S with like a boom camera attached to the roof. And they were filming it from many different angles as it's whizzing down the highway. And I was thinking, gee, they couldn't have come up with a trailer that would hold 8 cars? Like, come on. It's
that one holds at least 7. They've got the upper level collapsed completely down.
Which is why?
Because it looks better. You don't have to worry about whether or not
a full trailer would look much better.
Right, but with a full trailer, then you have to answer questions about whether or not the fairing is optional on the top of the truck.
No, a full trailer would, because some of those car carrier companies have
you mean the full
extension of a ninth car over the cab.
Yeah.
But in a configuration like this, they could definitely hold four cars on the top, 4 cars on the bottom.
But then they couldn't have done that crane shot where it looks like just the truck by itself, and then boom, there's.
I think Elon bought the wrong trailers.
That's probably exactly what it was
going on. Yeah, but there's a video, and this one's got the camera car following it. I think
it's got a Model X, but no Model S. 3 Model S's, 3 Model 3s, and a Model X.
And then the boom camera on the Model S.
Yeah, it's like, hey guys, wait for me. Hey, wait up.
Now, of course, Tesla's posting this all over the place on their own media. And you see it from different angles on the highway. And people in other cars are looking at this like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Well, that boom camera car and its sister, the projector car, those two get some miles, man.
I didn't know they were owned by the same people.
I think that the projector car was like just for that save the whales.
Yeah.
And then like it's already done. Why are you gonna throw it away? So Tesla acquired it.
Obviously, they would have kept it.
They used it at the Model 3 unveiling, or the Model 3 launch, where the first 100 people picked up their car. And then this boom camera's been around everywhere.
That projector car, the one that's painted like the whale thing and has the camera. So I was gonna say I can bring a picture real quick. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I still think they should put a Model S on the truck instead of 3 Model 3s and a Model X.
Well, the S was already slated to have the boom camera, so there's only so much you can do, Casey. There's only so much.
Yeah, okay.
We have to do deliveries. We can't afford 6 cars. There it is.
Yeah,
and
so
that's Leilani Munter right there.
That's Leilani.
Retired race car driver.
Yeah. So here's the camera that raises up out of the back.
Projector.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Camera. Yeah, the projector.
Yeah, the projector. And I didn't check, but they might have pictures of. Here it is, popping up out of the back,
folding in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then shooting it up on the
Oh,
on
Racing
any wall that's available.
Behind. Yeah.
Racing Extinction was the name of the project.
Yeah, right. Racing Extinction. I followed
Very
her
cool.
and followed that on social media. It was pretty cool. All the places they went to and all the things they did.
Next, Russell, do you want to read into or Casey, do you want to read into the paragraph that matters in
Russell,
the news release?
Better orator.
Casey, go ahead.
Okay. Let me get back in the spot. All right. So today we're beginning to roll out our latest version of Navigate on Autopilot for a more seamless active guidance experience. In this new version, drivers will now have the option to use Navigate on Autopilot without having to confirm lane changes via the turn stalk. Here's how it works, which I'm going to skip. If you have a car that can do it, you'll want to read it before you try it.
Good point. Good point.
Very good point.
Yes. Through our internal testing and early access program, more than 500,000 miles have already been driven with the lane change confirmation turned off. Our team constantly reviews data from instances where drivers took over while the feature has been in use and have found that when used properly, both versions of Navigate on Autopilot offer comparable levels of safety. And oh wait, that was a fluffy one too. There was another one where it said about the options you have. You can have it automatically confirm the lane changes for you. You can have it automatically turn on Navigate on Autopilot for you, or you can have it automatically turn on and ask you whether or not it's okay to make lane changes. So if you're in a familiar place or an unfamiliar place, you can decide. And then the part that Russell's gonna like.
I like it all.
Yeah, but you're gonna love this last sentence.
They will begin to roll out today via an over-the-air software update to customers in the U.S. and will be introduced in other markets in the future, pending validation and regulatory approval.
Oh, the regulatory approval.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
And so this might be that 2019.9 software I saw creeping through the system. Or
Okay.
maybe we'll see another one start to...
Just remember to keep your hands on the wheel.
Yes. If you don't keep your hands on the wheel, it won't change lanes.
Keep your hands on the wheel.
Yeah. Speaking, I got something for that at the end of the show, but Elon, of course, who is probably bored at this point because he's got nothing to do at all. He decides that he's going to auto-tune a rap song and publicize it. And again, I thought this was a joke, but when it comes to Elon tweeting something, it sounds like a joke, but it ain't a joke. He actually did it and published this particular on a music news. This one was RollingStone.com music news, and he talks about, and guess what? He's talking about a gorilla, or rapping about a gorilla that was shot and killed in the Cincinnati Zoo after being a child fell into his cage.
Yeah, a 3-year-old fell into the cage.
Yeah, the 3-year-old wasn't injured by the gorilla, but they were scared that the gorilla may do it, so they killed the gorilla. Mm. So this was a homage to that incident, and it sounds horrible. Like, don't give up your day job, Elon. Like, it was. Oh man, what do you guys think? Did you even listen to it?
I didn't. I listened to like the first 30 seconds, but like the way he was posting it, I couldn't tell if it was something he did earlier, because he made it seem like it was older than when he published it. So, is it something he just decided to finally hit go on, or?
I don't know. But
and then a lot of people put out the genitals out for Harambe.
Well, you asked if I'd listened to it, Mark. I can assure you the last 45 seconds is the most I've thought about it.
Fair enough. So it's out there. If you have interest in a new musical artist, one's available that you can download the song or listen to it streaming and see what you think. Send us a comment about what you think his music ambitions will be in the future. But,
right. And of course, it's on SoundCloud, and it's he calls it Emoji Records, which is emoji.
And he introduced it with an emoji duck.
Yeah.
And then said he was sorry that the label went under. So
Yeah, that's why I was getting the impression that it was
long ago.
Yeah.
Interesting. Another Easter egg that Elon drops on us during the week. So we will see what becomes of this, if there's a follow-up song or not. Hopefully not. But we've got our next story, which is fantastic. Norway, of course, the EV capital of the world. The adoption rate is insane. With the Model 3 release in that country, there now has been, it looks like people were saving up their money and waiting for the car to be released, because Tesla actually pulled in a 31% of all sales of all passenger cars in Norway were a Tesla.
Irrespective of powertrain.
Yeah, like this is across the board, every powertrain. And of course, there are about the same amount, a little bit less, for regular BEV cars as total, and a smaller slice that was for hybrid, and then of course gasoline cars lumped in as the final amount. So 31% to Tesla, 27% to other BEVs, 18.9% to hybrids, and the pure fossil fuels, 22% or 22.7%. So hats off to Norway. What a fantastic, man, that's just unbelievable. The amount of EVs that they're taking in, and this was just in March. So it's going to keep rolling along. And of course, that's pushing their total amount of EVs in the country, pushing that further higher and higher as the months go along, and pushing out more fossil fuel cars off the other end of the spectrum. So that's fantastic.
Yep, and I'm going to tailgate on that. And in Sweden, they pulled off a similar feat for March. They sold the most number of EVs in Sweden. And in Norway, the gas car resale values are tanking because nobody wants to be left holding a greasy baby.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
I think Tesla Rally put that one out there.
Nobody wants to be left holding a greasy baby. That is interesting. Wow. Interesting analogy. Okay. Things are different in Europe.
Well, I mean, because the fossils are oil, and
yes, of course. Yeah. But how does that relate to a greasy baby?
Because if you've got a Mercedes and it was worth 20 and now it's worth 5, you're left holding the greasy, smoky baby.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right.
I got nothing.
We made Russell face palm.
Casey, you had another story for us.
Yes. What did I say? Get my list back up. But that was one of them, the Sweden, and then yes,
I'm still presenting, guys. Just okay. There we go.
The new full self-driving computer is going to be demoed on the 19th.
Right. So they said there's going to be a demonstration, and now they've said it's going to be the 19th.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the European CCS adapter has been spotted. So any day now we'll see something official, and then we'll hopefully see a US model as well.
Hopefully. And hopefully they'll share that with Canada. But
if we get it in North America, we can just mail you a copy, man.
That would be great. I would appreciate that.
Just mail them one.
Yeah.
Canada Post is slow.
Hopefully it doesn't cost $500.
Yeah.
So unlike the Chatamo adapter, which is this big floppy thing, it's literally very much looks like our J1772 adapter, but it's got the 2 extra lugs.
Okay, so it's not. It hasn't got that cable in between that makes it floppy. It's kind of a solid piece.
Floppy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Are we still talking about cables?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Absolutely.
Yeah. We're totally talking about cables. I could go to the car and grab my CCS.
We started the show talking about pants, and we ended the show talking about floppy things. I don't know where this.
I'm about to stand up. Okay.
Actually, I've got a video showing you how to use.
No,
Tesla,
we don't want to hear about a video. No.
How to use the Tesla Chatamo adapter, and you'll see what we mean when we say that it's big and floppy. The adapter.
We don't need to see your video about big.
We don't want to see a video.
All I'm saying.
Exactly. Last but not least, Elon acknowledged a Chinese hacker group, which they're classified as a white hat hacker group. And of course, what that does is they are purposely testing in this case, a Model S, trying to break into the system, make the system do things it shouldn't. And they were able to do a few interesting things, which was they were able to play with the auto windshield wipers by just putting up a display in front of the car, in front of the camera, and then
TV.
And they were showing blotchy images on the TV, and the camera immediately thought it was raining, and the windshield wipers would go.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting that they were able to do that.
Go on. I'll follow up questions later.
Another thing they were able to do is they were able to change the markings on the road as they were in autopilot in a test track environment, and get the car to go into basically oncoming traffic.
What would have been oncoming traffic? Yeah,
would have been. Yeah,
Wile E. Coyote style.
And what was the tool they used?
Wile E. Coyote style.
Was square stickers about this big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that fooled the Tesla camera system into changing lanes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then another option, or another hijinks move they were able to do is plug a Xbox controller into the car somehow, or wireless controller, and we're able to steer the car with the Xbox controller with the gentleman in the passenger seat.
Yep.
Nice.
So,
and this was the only bug they patched.
Actually.
Of the three, it was the only one they actually did anything about.
So Tesla did take that last one and make a change and modify it to stop it, because of course they're killjoys. Who wouldn't want to be driving their car remotely through a wireless joystick as they're zipping down the highway?
Well, the problem there comes with, remember, was it 2-3 years ago with Chrysler, and people were able to supposedly steer them off the road.
Yep, take a Jeep and just pull it off the highway. Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so getting back to the first two quote unquote hacks.
Yeah. Hacks.
Yeah. Okay. So, confusing the camera into thinking that it's raining, I have a hard time believing that that's like a big deal.
It's not.
That's what Tesla said. They said, how many people are running around with an 80-inch TV strapped to the car?
Because Tesla intentionally chose a different system for rain sensing. They don't have rain sensors traditionally. They have a visual sensor. Yeah. It was easy to fool. And that's really the only point, which is when you eschew existing technology, sometimes you open yourselves up to other problems that, that's all. It's minor, it's trivial.
Yeah.
Now, the lane change, that's huge.
That could be huge, because in this case, these things were put down intentionally, but it is perceivable that if the car detects something that it thinks are rumble strips or something, and it decides to follow those, that is a potential for issue.
Well,
because there's never...
With those square ones, the only place you normally see those is in a construction zone, and they're everywhere. And at that point, you shouldn't be using autopilot anyway.
But can it distinguish between? Yeah, I mean, does it have to be those? If it looks
like a lane marker, it will follow it. And if you are out there messing with the road lane markers, you are already likely to get pulled over by the cops and thrown in jail.
Oh yeah, like I haven't seen crazy drivers 5 times a day and no cop to be found.
Well, I mean, like if they catch you in the middle of a main road painting
we're
like
talking about someone that's repositioning construction markers.
Yeah, exactly.
In a construction zone.
Yeah.
But I'm also projecting I'm positing the idea, if you will. And you are 100% positive that it knows the difference between a construction reflector thing and any other debris that might be on the road, or any other anything that could possibly be there.
Well,
did you say 100%?
This one can't go fast enough, and that's why they are changing the computer out. So the other stimuli that it would use to evaluate, is that a lane marker? How sure am I that it's a lane marker? It's not fast enough. So before that becomes a real issue,
it certainly is an issue in my mind.
But you should be still holding the wheel at this point.
You should, absolutely. But I'm going to talk about another story, our last story, Gentleman from Joe from OC Detailing, who's made a number of videos.
Oh, that one. Okay,
since the Model 3 came out.
Yeah.
And he had one of his counterparts driving his Model 3 on a California Model S on a California highway.
Yeah.
Came into a construction zone that he's passed by several times in the past without issue. He was in the fast lane. And of course, in this particular construction zone, a concrete barrier came out close to the fast lane.
On the fast lane.
Well, it was on the line basically.
Yeah.
And his car clipped it.
Yes.
Because he was an autopilot. His hands were not on the wheel, apparently. Yeah. And the car clipped it, even though he had been through that section a few other times and the car went through it successfully.
Yeah.
So this is one of the problems that I see with autopilot, and it's more of a human problem than autopilot itself.
That was autopilot 1, and that exactly was what they were talking about with those squares. That's the exact scenario, is that somebody moved the construction zone, and autopilot 1 wasn't that robust.
but it did recognize it in previous passes.
Well, the barrier had been moved, the lanes hadn't, and so this time he was thinking the barrier was where it was. He didn't think to be careful.
He didn't think they moved it closer to the line or on the line.
On the line, yeah. And then Then
so,
you get a video where you show us?
I don't have the video.
Oh, okay. No. Well, so then the car bounced into the Jersey barrier.
Yeah. So it clipped it, and he continued going. He didn't cause an accident, thank goodness. It just kept going. But man, that is something where a person who's used to autopilot being successful every time, they're going to be unaware of things like that. It's going to be, and again, this is autopilot 1.
Yeah.
This may not be an issue with autopilot 2. We don't know.
So on my autopilot 2.5, anytime I get near construction, it sees the cones, it sees anything that makes it think construction. It's like, whoa, back off, buddy. It
tells you to grab the wheel.
Construction detected, autopilot limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a brave new world. We're going to see some of this stuff being tested on roads, and it's going to be interesting.
Here's one 30-second opinion.
Okay.
You as vehicle owners are the beta testers. You're the guinea pigs.
It's called Nav on Autopilot Beta. Autopilot Beta.
You're going to get into a box that's very heavy, that has some combustible stuff in it.
Yeah.
I don't overplay that, but whatever. That goes anywhere between, well, if we believe Tesla, you go 0 to 60 pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So
I can attest to that.
There's a principle that Tesla is doing and no one else is doing, which is that these visual cameras and these radar sensors are adequate to fully self-drive this vehicle.
That's what they say.
This is a strategy nobody else is pursuing. That's going to be validated by you.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Yes.
Be careful. That's all I got.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that we are beta testers.
Yeah.
It's whether or not a person that's not familiar with the company knows that.
Yeah. And that they play that up, like,
they play it up in literature and stuff. But again, who reads the manuals, Casey? Nobody.
Well, that's why every time you turn it on, it's like hands on wheel. You're in charge,
right? And that's why they had to increase the nanny in the system. Is they're trying to cover themselves
because the phrase "full self-driving" isn't at all misleading.
Well, that's not on yet.
Okay.
Because you have to actually go in and read the thing and scroll to the bottom and check that I agree. The lawyers, it's all on me. Before you can even get to the part where every time you turn it on, it says yes or no, and then it reminds you hands on wheel, and then every 2 minutes it says hold the wheel.
And again, people like Casey and myself that have owned this vehicle and have watched the company for years, we know what it is and what it isn't. Yeah. I'm saying the casual buyer, which there are now a lot more of,
way more.
They have no clue. A lot of them don't read anything, and they just get in the car. And as Russell said, as soon as they hear the word autopilot, that means the car can drive itself.
Oh, there was that stock analyst last week who he thought he was an autopilot, but he's just in cruise control. He paid for autopilot, and the download said you have it now, but he never went and read the thing and turned it on.
And turned it on.
Like,
he was
he's
just
like, this thing is terrible. It's running all over the road.
Oh my god! And that's exactly what we're talking about.
And everybody told him, you dumbass, read the thing and turn it on correctly.
That's exactly what we're talking about. That is the quality of people that are buying these cars and turning them loose.
This is the mistake that could potentially kill Tesla.
Yeah.
Is this arrogance in saying it's the assholes who buy it and misuse it? How many interviews has Elon done sitting back like this with his hands off the wheel? How many?
He usually does
on national television?
He hovers like this.
Two.
Yeah, at least two. At least two. I went before.
Coming, and that reckoning is hurtling at you just as fast as you are hurtling forward.
Yeah.
So, something to watch out for. If you're out there in Tesla land, make sure you keep aware of what's going on and those hands either on the wheel or close to it.
I've noticed a bunch of people using those weights and minders. Don't use that shit. That's just dangerous. You're gonna kill somebody. Don't do it.
Yep.
I've seen like 5 different people this week with that stuff on
that's
there.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Every one of you viewers, okay?
Yeah. We want you to come back. If you crash into a Jersey barrier and don't make it, we're gonna be upset, and we don't need.
In fact, even if you don't own a Tesla, find a Tesla and put your hands on their wheel.
Yeah, exactly.
And by the way, there's a video on Reddit just today of a woman trying to put her hands on a Tesla that was not hers. So look that up on Reddit.
Man, I gotta see that.
You'll have a good laugh. That's it for tonight. So let's say our goodbyes. Casey, have you got some plugs for us?
Yes. So if you want to see me driving a little insane, go to youtube.com/Casey Green. That's KACEYGREEN. You'll see me driving around the track on ludicrous mode with my Tesla Model X. And then you'll also be able to see, these are both in my 360s playlist. You'll also see Brian from I1 Tesla driving me around in a Tesla Model 3 Performance in track mode in a parking lot, just going insane. They were both a blast.
Excellent. And by the way, if anyone has some used tires, Casey's looking for tires. But we'll talk about that later. Tony, what can you...
So shout out as usual to Lee for the music. Thanks, Lee. I want to remind everyone that we'll be recording What Drives Us at the top of the next hour. I have 5 show titles. Hockey Day says click like for pants.
Yes.
Lee says Sentry Mode, your unstable guardian.
Yeah.
I'm throwing out for a suggestion. MC Tesla.
The Chinese sprung structure.
Yeah, we've done sprung structure too many times. So we get MC Tesla, yo-yo. Holding a greasy baby.
Yeah, there we go. Greasy baby.
And then Lee also threw out Rorschaching a Tesla.
Oh, nice.
What do you think you see, Mr. Tesla? I see rain.
And Mr. Frost.
Thanks to everybody. That's all I got.
Short and sweet. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button, please do now, and click the thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. It was worth that at least, wasn't it? Was it not? Absolutely.
I think so.
Absolutely.
We would appreciate it. So we will see everyone next week, and at that point, find out what is going on in the Tesla life.